Good morning. It's been a minute. Let's see what's been going on here in Florida. Welcome to Recreational Knitting. My name is Karen, and this is a podcast that has been a little irregular in the last few weeks. I am coming to you from beautiful Flagler Beach, Florida, where we have had rain for, I think, the last 19 days. Anytime I went to film, it would pour. The last 4 days, we've had over 10 inches of rain. So we're experiencing a little wetness. I'm feeling a little mildewy every time I get up. So, welcome to this little place in the internet. Believe it or not, this is a knitting podcast. We've been traveling in our RV for the last almost 4 years. It's coming to an end. We will have to rebrand this. Podcast somehow to make it coming from Florida. Yes, we bought a home. We have our first walkthrough on Thursday, and our second walkthrough on Tuesday of next week, and then we close. And then we'll be moving in. At one point, I was thinking of doing a Vlogtober. Yeah, well, you might get to see some move-in pictures along the way, which will be, I guess, interesting as far as bringing my yarn haul in, trying to hide it. But yeah, so that's where we're at. And this month has been a busy bear. That's all I can say. Trying to get documents, et cetera, for those that need them. So, welcome. Everybody is welcome here. And by that, I mean everybody. And I am hoping that you find a little bit of fun here and strap in. I think it might be a long one. I have a finished object today. I have a half-finished object, and I have close to finished objects, a lot of them. So I wanted to have at least one to wear today, but it just didn't work out. But I am wearing my Knitting Makes Me Happy shirt that I'm sure that if I wear in public, people kind of like, what? But that's all right. I like it. My first finished object, and only finished object, is really kind of one that I had forgotten about. Ruth Loves to Knit podcast. It's the one that she makes all the time, the little shawl. And I don't have it, the name of it, but there's what a finished object looks like in a picture. It's like the mindfulness shawl or something like that. And here is mine. This is by Full Moon Fibers. This is going to be a gift. I'm all over the place here, sorry. Full Moon Fibers. It's like I've never done this before, and I haven't for a while. Full Moon Fibers, and it's all the feels. It's an 80-20 mix, and these are sisters that, let's get this right side up here. These are sisters from Ontario that dye and make beautiful knitting bags. So check them out. I won this, and my daughter wears a lot of black, And I thought this would be a nice winter, you know, little pop of color. It's not been blocked because it would never dry here right now with 10 inches of rain in the last 4 days. I don't even want to go back 19 days. Anyway, there it is, my finished object. All right, a finished object. It's been so long since I had one. I've been knitting sweaters, and you know, that just doesn't happen like that. Okay, I have a hoe, which is a half finished object. I've put a heel in a sock that I've been working on forever. These were my Ranger socks. You see it? Half finished. I've made one of the heels. And I may be running out of yarn for that. So we'll see. I've put a toe in here that doesn't match because I don't know that I'm even going to have enough yarn for the heel. So we'll find out soon, won't we? Because I'm going to finish these this week. Yeah, this is what I've got. This is sport weight yarn by Knit Spin Farm. It's her self-striping, and it's Tarhi base, and it's beautiful yarn. And I wish I could continue to get this, but I've been forbidden to buy more yarn. It is what it is. So when we get in our new house, I'm probably going to buy a couple skeins just to celebrate. Anyway, that's all I've got left for that one heel, and I'm hoping it does. And if I still have a little nugget at the end, maybe I'll back out of my brown toe. We'll see. So those are my foes and hoes. Now, whips. I have a lot of them, but really I've been working on 1, 2, 3, 4. The first whip that I will show you is an almost finished anchor summer shirt, because would this really be my podcast if I didn't have one on the needles? All right, this is what I've gotten so far. This is the front. Almost finished the sleeve, and we'll be starting the second sleeve. This is Remix Light. And I've made about 5 of these, I think. 4 of them in Remix Light. I've actually been wearing my sweaters here in Florida if we go out someplace, and it's really good for this weather. It's going to be a good choice. So those of you that have been, you know, on the fence trying it, go ahead. It's only, I think, at Little Knits in Seattle, it's about $9.59 a skein, and I've used 2 and this much. Now, I did go down a size. I was making the 3X, which is now too big. I've lost enough weight that it is now too big, but I'm going to still wear them. But there may come a point where it's just, I'll have to put like a turtleneck or a shirt underneath it or something. But this, I went down to 2X, and I've tried it on and it fits perfectly. So almost. Maybe by the next time you see me, I will have had another anchored summer shirt. Thank you, Petite Knit. This is not sponsored by Petite Knit. I wish it were. Anyway, almost done. In a lovely knitting bag brought to you by Amazon. Something came in that, and I thought, oh, that'd be a good sweater bag. And I don't have big bags. I have a couple, but you know, when you've got 3 or 4 sweaters on the move, it doesn't work out that well. All right, I've made some progress on my tank car And of course I don't have the pattern because I'm such a good podcaster. This is by Anna. Really, I'll put it here. Out of practice, out of my mind, I don't know which it is. Anyway, this is the tank R top. And this is, I'm making this in Drops Bell in the petrol color. This is gorgeous yarn. It is a bit splitty, but that could just be me. This is the back. And when I get the front to a certain spot, this will be mattress stitched with the sleeves, for the sleeves, excuse me. It's the back. I'm not sure if that was done the last time I podcast or not. And this, my friends, is the front, if I can get it untangled here. This is the front. Yeah, we have some short rows happening here. So I'm getting there. A little more progress. And again, Drops Bell. This is 53% cotton, perfect for the environment here. 33% viscose and 14% linen. So this I ordered from Wool Warehouse. They were having a sale months ago. I like it. I wish I lived in the UK where you can buy things like that at a grocery store. Yeah, what's that about? And that's being kept in a lovely organza bag from Wool Warehouse. So that's 2 whips. I've got 2 more to show you. This one, excuse me for reaching, but I'm such a phenomenal podcaster today that I put them way out of reach. This is the one that I'd hoped that I would be finished. This is the Salty Air Tea. And do I have the pattern? It's really beautiful. Just look at it. It's Rachel Gurin, I think, is the, this is, I've got 1 sleeve finished, and then had I had any sense at all last night, I would have finished the 2nd sleeve. But of course, squirrel, you know, something else took me away. So I hope to be wearing this next week. It's really a lovely pattern, really beautiful. This is made in Jody Long, Alba. I think the colorway is Kiwi. Of course, it's not been blocked. And this does have some alpaca, so I do expect it to stretch a little bit southward, which is quite okay by me. I'm on the 3rd skein of that, and this is what I've got left. So I have 4, so I'll have a whole skein left, which I may make some mitts out of. Yeah, for one of the kids. So there's that. And I have a new cast on. Back in August, Valerie, who hosted my cast on party, thank you, Valerie, very much. She does a podcast with her husband. It's called A Visit with Nana and Papa. And of course, Valerie is Nana. And she decided she was going to do a little tutorial and call it First Sweater Together. So she had 2 patterns, both by Tiff Nealon. One can't remember what the actual name of it is. It's a stripy pattern. It's a nice, really nice pattern. And the other one was Vibes, which I had on a short list of things that I think I would like to try. Well, you'll see. I went stash diving, and this is what I've come up with. Hoping you can see some of that detail. The 3 solid colors are discontinued, unfortunately, because they are heaven to work with. The blue, the green, and the beige are all roslyn, which is a cascade yarn, and it's, I believe, 65% wool, and the rest is silk. So that would be 35% silk. It is heaven to work with. Kind of works up into a sport weight, which is exactly what I wanted. This variegated, I don't know what's a good place to show it. This is done in stockinette. This is by Caspar. Let me see, make sure I get this right. This is Caspar, and it is 81% merino, 9% cashmere, and 10% nylon, and this is made by Handmaiden Yarns. And this was in my stash as well. This is what the ball looks like. I have a lot that I will have left over. So, yeah. And if you ever see this roslyn somewhere on a sale table by Cascade, it's really gorgeous. It really is. These just have color numbers. So, yeah, I've been looking online to see if I can find any. And I found some here in Florida. Outrageous price. So it's not a sale yarn at this point. So I cast this on September 1st. And this is a month of knitting off and on, along with my other projects. And after I finish this last green, I will be doing the ribbing in the blue. And then I won't give too much away, but then I have to go back and cast on, and up here, I will either continue to do the stockinette, you know, like a roll collar with the blue, and then I still have the sleeves to finish, which I will be making a little bit longer. Just my personal aesthetic. So I've been busy knitting in between. Excuse me, somebody wants to sell me Medicare coverage. Yes. Spam calls. Off tangent, but spam calls of any sort, but especially Medicare. I have it. I'm good. Leave me alone. All right. Now I'm going to talk to you a little bit about my October plans. My October plans are to get things in boxes and move them to a new home for us that doesn't have tires. It's been a long 4 years, honey. Yeah, it really has. I have to admit. This has taken a toll. I look at the wrinkles. I know it's just 4 years, but I know that I've aged quicker than I should have during this trip. And I'll just be glad to get in a home that doesn't move. Yeah, so And it actually has a home warranty. Yay! Somebody else comes fix it. Okay, so that's my big plan for October. But my other plans are to finish those 3 works in progress. And as you can see, I'm pretty close to doing the finishing on all of them. You know, I'm in the sleeves or close to the sleeves. So, and they're all short sleeved sweaters. So one of the things that, if you remember the Make 9 that I have, well, it is now October. Happy fall, y'all. But it is now October and I still have like 4 things to do on that Make 9, I think. So it probably isn't going to, it might be a Make 7. Yeah. But one of them was mitts, and this, it's called Point Edwards Mitts. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. And I plan on making a couple of these, maybe even 3. I might even make a pair for my son-in-law, since he's in and out. He works in the hardware, a hardware store. So he's in and out helping people carry things to cars and stuff. And these might be helpful on cold days. If he doesn't like them, my daughter will use them, I'm sure. Anyway, that's one of my plans. Another plan is to finish a few of my current whips that you haven't seen, that I haven't worked on for a while. One of those is the shawl that I began last year and wanted to have it done by Christmas. Now, I never said what year. So, hopefully by this Christmas. Yeah, life, it happens. I see pretty patterns and I go, yeah, I want to do that. I'm going to cast that on. Yep. And I still have cast-ons that I still need to work on. So that's really my goal from here to the end of December. And in January, I plan on casting on the Autumn League sweater with the cotton yarn from Lion Brand. Couple podcasts back, I showed you that sweater. It's a very cozy knit. It looks like a sweatshirt. It's made out of yarn. It's wonderful. And I made one last year. Likely that's going to be huge on me this year because it was big on me last year. But it'll be cozy if we have 20 degrees here in Florida as they did last year. So those are just 2 goals. Well, 3 goals when you count the mitts too as well. So what are your goals? Drop a line down there. What are your goals for the rest of the year? I know October is the time where we start thinking, oh, let's do, Christmassy kinds of things. So what are your goals for the rest of the year? And then we'll talk about 2023 on the next podcast. I will have some winners announced the next podcast on who won the sock success. I have 2 winners. I just forgot to bring their names out today. So, next time. All right. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about what I've been reading, if I can find it in my little notes here. Yeah. I started in this book because my other one filled up, and I started it upside down. Can you relate? Yes. All right. Well, where have I put I thought it was in this book. Must be on the one I'm sitting on. I've read many books since I saw you last. The books that I have read are Unraveling by Peggy Ornstein. Highly recommend you read it. The story is, it's a nonfiction book. Peggy is, she writes for a living, and it's a wonderfully written book. And it talks about her journey during COVID, where she's a knitter. That's where this is coming from. She's a knitter. But during COVID, she decided she was going to do the sheep to sweater all the way through all the steps of shearing, carding, etc., etc. And she talks to you about her journey during that time. And it's so fascinating. Please get yourself a copy at your library or wherever you can get your hands on one. It's one of those books that I have on Kindle, but I think I'd like to own the actual book. It's really something. It really is really lovely. There were times that she would talk to us about her feelings about the country, her fear, because as we all remember, there was a lot of fear during that time. Okay, I've obviously not brought that list of things that I have been reading with me, but I have been reading one of my favorite authors. I've read 3 books by her. Laura Lippman. Laura Lippman is from the Baltimore area. She used to write for the Baltimore Sun, the daily newspaper, and she's married to David Simon. And you go, who's David Simon? David Simon is also a writer, and he's the one that created Life on the Streets and The Wire. That's the one that he's most noted for. His writing is amazing. Her writing is amazing as well. She has a series, it's like a cozy mystery series of a woman sleuth in the Baltimore area. And it just takes me back to some of the neighborhoods that I know, that I used to live in, that I used to go to places to eat, for a bar, whatever. And it just brings me back. There were 3 of her books that I actually read, and I will leave those books down for you to use. One was set in San Antonio, and the other 2 were set in Baltimore. Now, if you wanted to try one of her books, the first one that is in a series for the Tess Monahan, it would be better if you start with number 1, but it's okay. You could still probably come in and get the gist of things if you came in to number 10, let's say. It would be better if you do them in order. I have not. But I did start with 1 and 2, and then because of my library situation on the road, I've skipped around. Have not read the entire series yet, but I would suggest that you look into it if you like that kind of book. She also, I'm going to mess this up too, Lady in the Lake, and that's not right. I'll put that here, the correct title. And it was on the New York Times bestseller a couple of years ago. Check her out, it'd be great. I am going to leave you with some pictures of our adventures around the Las Vegas area during the lockdown for COVID. It's not often that you see pictures from Las Vegas without anybody on the streets, but I'm going to leave you with that today and hope that you have found a place that you enjoy If you do, please like, subscribe. I'll be better about posting more regularly, I promise. We're going to have to rebrand this podcast to something other than recreational knitting. If you have any ideas, put them down below. Yes, I would appreciate that. You can find me as Recreational Knitting Podcast on Instagram. And I do have a Ko-fi account if you feel like this has been valuable to you, or if you'd like to see more of this type of podcast. It will help me get to Rhinebeck next year. It's just not in the cards for this year. Next year is my goal. So any of your donations will help with that, as well as sending out winnings, yarn, all the things that I do to keep this podcast going. Just another statement about the way that YouTube is changing some things. We used to have some control over what ads you see. It doesn't, and how they're seen. That's going to be changing as of November 1st. So just so you know, I don't have anything to do with it. It's how YouTube is going to be run. And of course, they're not going to lose money on this deal. They are a business, and I understand that they need to make money. And every podcaster is going to have to go through the same thing. So just be patient with ads. We're sorry. It is what it is. And sometimes, if I think this is a push to make everybody go YouTube Premium, and if you have the means and want to do that, that's also another way to get out of watching, I think, most of the ads. So that's just my little, I want to let you know information. Next time, I will see you, and I'll have some names for sock success. I hope that some of you have been wearing your socks. My MOJO has left for socks right now. So I haven't even finished the second one. So maybe by next time. I'll talk to you then. Bye.